Hey there, friends. Welcome back to another Legally Armed America video. I'm, of course, Paul Glasgow here, the one and only truth pimp, dealing you a vulgar display of logic and reason on a daily basis. Today, we're going to talking about the big unsolvable mystery of the D.C. pipe bomber on January 6th. Yeah, we got video, we got all kinds of stuff, but not a lead, not a clue, nothing. Maybe not so fast. Now, real quick, and something that seems like a bit of a coincidence, me putting this story out today, and recently got this t-shirt in from my friends over at TriStar Trading saying, "Don't trust the government." Kind of a package deal here. You want to check those guys out. They make some of the coolest, softest t-shirts. Obviously, a lot of the pro-Second Amendment type stuff. And I'm proud to have them staffing all of my stuff over there. You'll see some of my world-famous Speed Racer t-shirt is over there. In fact, they are putting it out in a long-sleeve t-shirt for this winter. But you'll see a lot of my other designs that you guys are familiar with. There may be coming designs in the future, so keep your eyes out on that. But not just my stuff. There's tons of stuff over there. In fact, their Wooby jackets are being restocked. I hear that they may be having some pullover Wooby jackets out there also in the same color configurations that you've come to love. So check them out. If you want to scan that QR code on your screen or follow the link in the description down below for this video. Well, oddly enough, it seems like the people who might have cracked the pipe bomb case isn't the organization that has an unlimited supply of money, meaning the FBI. It looks like the team over at Blaze Media, with access to apparently sharper footage and real experts, have now delivered the long, damning, and more believable update that the FBI never could bring to us. 5 years. The FBI, in their own backyard, for that matter, couldn't even give us a clue. Not a clue. Now, we get more than clues from somebody outside the FBI, but people with knowledge of what happens on the inside of the FBI. Blaze Media's investigation centered around some old-fashioned detective work, upgraded with modern technology. Yeah, they used gait analysis with AI being infused in it to help figure it out. They put the infamous pipe bomber's walk, of course we know we have video of that, under the microscope using high-end software that matches joint flexion, speed, stride length, cadence, and a half dozen more movement markers. What'd they come up with? Well, former Capitol Police officer Shauni Kerkhoff came up as an insane 94 to 98% match to the perp in the surveillance videos that the FBI has had for 5 years. This wasn't some amateur guesswork. Multiple intelligence sources and even other gait experts confirmed the match independently. But the FBI has been working on it for 5 years. Kerkhoff's limping right leg, a result of a brutal college soccer injury, stood out in every piece of footage from their forensic team. Crime scenes, Capitol Police cameras, and her very own athletic highlight videos highlighted this weird gait. The only thing more obvious is the limp in the FBI's excuse for not solving the case. But this wasn't some random person. Again, this was a person on the inside. Kerkhoff wasn't just any DC person. She served in the Capitol Police from 2018 until mid-2021, then quietly slipped into where? The CIA, handling dignitary protection and security for the exact circles that run the country. Now, why would a top-level cop, trained in civil disturbance and crowd control, suddenly fit the profile of a masked bomber the Bureau can't seem to identify? The Blaze Media didn't let that stop them. Former FBI agents admit their investigative teams ended up surveilling the building next door to Kerkhoff's after January 6th, only to be inexplicably told to pull out, with no follow-up interviews, textbook self-sabotage, or worse, protection. Whistleblowers and congressional staffers went on record saying they believe law enforcement, or at least someone close to it, was not just involved, but shielded every step of the way. Now, you know how we always say, what did they take that picture or video with, a potato? It always seems like the surveillance video and things like that in high-tech world that we live in today, the most surveilled city in America, likely, Washington, D.C., with the most money pumped into security, knowing full well that there's probably at a minimum of 4K video cameras everywhere, but we always seem to get this grainy, crappy footage that you can't ever tell anything. I mean, you can barely tell that it's a person, let alone recognize the person, any facial features that might tell us who this person is. In D.C., we know they have better. It seems like they corrupt the actual video and photos that come out just so that they're not identifiable. Blaze Media uncovered that the FBI sat on higher frame rate, higher resolution video evidence that makes gait analysis even easier while only trickling out grainy, blurred files to the general public. Independent video sleuths, outsiders doing what the feds would not do all along, prove that the good footage actually exists, but it was not released. Ask yourself this: if your whole investigation depends on public tips, why hide the very evidence that could blow your case wide open? So if we're depending on the general public we put all this video and these pictures and all this stuff out so that the general public can help us identify who this person is, why would you not put the best possible video footage and photographic footage out unless you didn't want help from the general public, unless you did not want to crack this case? But even after exposing that, the FBI shrugs and shouts, "National security!" After 5 years of endless interviews and massive rewards, even as outside journalists come closer to identifying the bomber than the whole government apparatus ever did, the Bureau had the shoe prints. They had the walk, they had the travel cards, the exact addresses. They even had intelligence agents at the right door. But suddenly they decided they'd seen enough. So what's more likely, in your opinion? The fact that we have a completely incompetent, stupid, bumbling FBI, or that the FBI purposely did not want things to get out because maybe they had a little bit, if not involvement, at least knowledge that maybe they just didn't want to solve? It looks to me like they were managing this story from the jump. The more you look, the more the cover-up looks very deliberate. A law enforcement officer insider as the lead suspect, an investigation pulled back at the goal line moments before we're scoring a touchdown, and video evidence downsampled to hide the truth. Now, this isn't some other distraction or look over here conspiracy or anything like that. The Blaze Media did a fantastic job doing true investigative work, stuff that would probably put them at the head of the list for any applicants at the FBI, basically doing their work better than they do. They built their investigation on hard data, technical confirmation, and real-world whistleblowers who had enough of the lies of the FBI. The FBI has every reason to keep a lid on this story screwed on tight. If it's proof the bomber was an inside job, the entire narrative of January 6th and all the policy built around it comes crashing down. I mean, imagine this. Even if it just this one piece of it, and I'm not even talking about the 200 and something FBI agents that were actual, or not agents, I don't want to embellish like they would. I think they said they had 20 agents in the audience or in the crowd at January 6th, but they had 270 something independent contractors that worked with them there. So there was a loose affiliation with at least 300 people in the crowd for January 6th that the FBI knew about and had control over, right? So even if this piece of it comes to be true as far as the pipe bomber was an inside job, to me that tears down everything else that you've been led to believe regarding January 6th. Think about all of these January 6th people using no due process. And please, all of you illegal alien loving jackasses, please don't come at me and act like these illegal aliens that are getting no due process as they get deported for breaking the law for illegally entering this country. Please don't make that stupid comparison that the January 6 people are getting the same treatment. January 6 people were American citizens that got no due process and got thrown in jail. These people at least are getting sent back home, and they were here illegally again, I might remind you. So all these January 6 people that got thrown into prison over something that was made up, over something that was concocted, over something that Christopher Wray and everybody else knew about, then lied about under oath. This is why the American people get pissed off, because people like the Blaze find this kind of stuff. And I guess, a quick side note, I guess Kash Patel will come out any day now and say that this isn't true. But we sit here and look at all of this stuff that comes out like this, And then nothing ever happens to the people who we know did this. So again, Kash Patel will come out and say none of this is true, and we're supposed to go, oh, okay, cool, none of it's true. This is all a lie. I'd like to see Kash Patel sit down with the Blaze Media investigative journalists and detective folks who did all this work and explain this away to them. Let's do this live. Let's do a live stream of Kash Patel sitting on one side of the table and the Blaze investigative journalists on the other side of the table with all of their proof and documentation that they uncovered that the FBI seemingly couldn't. And let's let them have a back and forth. I'm okay with it. Heck, I'd pay for it. Let's do a GoFundMe and get that sucker going. I mean, we have all this footage of this chick traipsing all over Washington, D.C. They know exactly where she went. They have her footprints. They know exactly what shoes she wore. They probably know who her lesbian girlfriend is, but yet no clue who this person is. It takes an independent source to figure this out with limited budget. I don't buy into the FBI's, oops, we tried our best and we couldn't find anything. We need to demand answers. We need to share the Blaze investigation. This is a video that I feel like a lot of people need to see because no other people will be talking about this. A lot of your mainstream media will not touch this with a 10-foot pole because they don't want this getting out there, because I think there's way more. It ain't just one side. There's going to be Republicans tied to this also. I can guarantee you that. We need to ask why the government always seems to botch the big cases. All the big headline-grabbing cases, the FBI can never seem to crack. But they can manage to find grandma in a bunker in Idaho who Googled a page about January 6th, and they throw her ass in jail. Yeah, they can do that. But they can't crack any of these cases open that have all these glaring things out there that we're all like, that's your guy right there, like this hurt soccer player. One final thing that I want to mention on all this. Have you noticed the weird timing of Nancy Pelosi and this story coming out together, and Nancy saying that she's not going to run for a 87th term or whatever it is? Remember, Pelosi's the one who lied about saying that Donald Trump didn't want National Guard or something like that. There's a whole back and forth right there of her making an accusation that wasn't true. She was the one who refused to get any additional security there. She was also the most powerful person in Washington, D.C. at the time. She was what you would call the shot caller. Now, this story comes out showing that the pipe bomber was an inside person, meaning nothing's ever going to happen, meaning it was a plant all along. Oh, and I'd like to remind you real quick that the training, quote, pipe bombs that the FBI uses were identical to the ones left at the scenes on January 6th. Just a quick side note that I thought I should share. That's what a wild coincidence that is. But Nancy Pelosi was the tip of the spear when it came to politics at that time. She was the point person for everything. And within days of this story coming out and more of the January 6th stuff coming out, she decides she's not going to run again. Now she's going to start playing the Joe Biden part. Watch. She's going to start playing the I'm old, I'm incompetent, I'm senile, I've lost my mind. This is the early stages of dementia. She's going to start playing that role so that people go easy on her when it comes to more of the January 6th coming to light. You watch. I do not think in any way whatsoever that her retirement is not tied to these announcements that we see. I do believe this is her way. You're going to start seeing her, and it may be actually happening or it's an act. But either way, you're going to start seeing people talking about her slipping. Oh, she's not all there. This is the Biden effect. This is the same thing that happened to our poor old Joe. Watch. Guys, if you liked the video, please hit that like button. Also, make sure you're subscribed. Hit that notification bell to make sure that you get a notification every single time I upload a video, because this reach on this channel is getting squashed. If you look at the amount of interaction that you guys are putting out there, the amount of likes and the amount of comments on each one of these videos versus the views, it's ridiculous. The interaction rate is off the chart, but the views are down. That's not normal. Usually you have high views and a certain amount of comments or likes on the videos. It's an unbelievable ratio. If you go look at the past videos of mine, you'll see the view count is down since they bumped my channel off the air 2 weeks ago. But look at the interaction rate. You'll have 2,000 views on a video and 700 comments. That's not normal. That's because the view and the reach is getting squashed. This signal is one that nobody out there from YouTube wants to get out. So I rely on you guys to give me a hand and to help assist by getting that signal out there. Thanks, guys. I hope you all have a great weekend. Don't forget, guys, if you're looking for a book to educate yourself and to educate the idiots out there who can't think for themselves regarding mass shootings, go to damnliars.net. Again, damnliars.net, and get my brand new book, Damn Liars.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
It's hanging around.